Hi everyone, and welcome to my Cook with Janie kitchen. Today I'm not cooking, but I am going to help you with some ideas on how you can save money while you are cooking. And I do this all the time, and I thought that I would share. It's great to have lots of tips and hints for while you are actually cooking and saving money. And of course, being on holiday, usually you don't end up saving money, but I just wanted to help you figure out what to do that you can actually save some money while you are on holiday, while you're camping, while you're on in a self-catering venue, or even if you're going out for almost every meal. It's great, it's easy, it's fun. So today we're going to talk about making your own ingredients. We're going to talk about shopping for reduced priced items. That's got a big if attached to it. And we're going to talk about getting your kids involved if you have children. We're going to talk about making double of recipes or meals and building up your pantry supplies. So those are all little areas that I can help you with. And so what I'm going to mention today with make your own ingredients is it is great to make your own ingredients. I love using my Thermomix. It's my favorite kitchen appliance. And of course, some of these things you can do without a Thermomix, so feel free to take the tips from today that work for you in your kitchen. I love making yogurt, for instance. It costs about half the price of buying it ready-made, and it's delicious. And I actually can get milk from a local farm, so it tastes wonderful, and the taste changes throughout the year, which is amazing and so interesting. I like making icing sugar. It's about half the price of buying your icing sugar to make your own from granulated sugar. And I find I like using organic ingredients, and I can't actually buy organic icing sugar, so I make it when I need it, which is great. I make my own gluten-free flours. I make my own dairy-free milks. I make nut butters and pesto, just to give you a few ideas of things to have on hand. And of course, you don't have to do them all at once, just bit by bit. And I went dairy-free for a little while. I'm not actually dairy-free anymore, but I came to like the flavor of cashew milk, so I make that. Probably I use a liter or two every week, which means I save between £1 or £2 a week just on my dairy-free milk. If you make something like oat milk or rice milk, you'll save even more because you won't have the expensive ingredient to go into it like cashews. And I buy organic cashews and I still save that much, which is amazing. And it tastes so much better than the bought ones. And you know exactly what's in it. Simple, easy, real ingredients that are good food and nourishing. So things like pesto, easy meal. You can make it and put it in a jar. It'll be fine to take with you if you're going camping, or obviously it can use up your garden abundance this time of the year, as I mentioned yesterday. If you're going shopping and you find some things at the right time of the day that are marked down, then feel free to get them if you can use them while they're still good. And that's a really important if. So don't be tempted by the buy 3 for the price of 2 if you can't use it, or it's going to just sit in your cupboard, or it's actually going to go to the bottom of the fridge drawer and end up being wasted. If you can use it, those things are a bargain and they can save you money. So I like to buy double cream when it's marked down because I know I'm going to use it. I'm going to get home and I'm going to make my own butter, really easy, or make some ice cream. That's really yummy and wonderful homemade ice cream. So delicious. And your children will be very happy. Your husband will be very happy if you're cooking for a spouse. And mine certainly is when I make it. If you can find marked down vegetables, that's an easy soup, a pesto, stock paste. It can be salads or side dishes. Or if you're a vegetarian, of course, that can be your main courses. And marked down fruit means dessert, snacks. You can add some to yogurt or smoothies. You can freeze it. And of course, you can freeze some of your vegetables as well. So all of those ideas are great for you for saving money at the supermarket or at your local shops or at the farmer's market. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is saving money by getting your kids involved in cooking, or your grandchildren. If they are involved, they're much more likely to eat what is served, which is super. And that makes such a difference, because then you don't throw food away that's wasted. And that means that you are actually saving money. If they're eating what they help you make or help you choose, then of course, then you're not having to feed them something else because they wasted the first thing that you made that they didn't want. So I always find if you can get the children involved with some lovely things like choosing, and with doing things like helping to decide what meal they want on a particular day. Maybe you can give each family member a choice once a week, and then you can have the ingredients. If you're a planner, like I mentioned about, hi everyone coming on, like I mentioned about cookie dough, if you're using your Thermomix or going online to search for recipes, then if you're a planner, of course, that's great, because you can have your shopping list, and then you know you've actually got things in that you can use to make those recipes or meals that have been chosen by each family member. If they're old enough and competent enough, then of course they can do the cooking for you. And that's great. That saves you a lot of time being the cook in the family. That means that you get some extra help and you get commitment. Even if they're younger. One of my friends did a beautiful thing for me when I was younger, actually, Rachel Fitzdesorga. She'll recognize this little story. When our children were very small and we used to get together often, she said to one of my sons, "Please could you make these vegetables into a beautiful plate?" And so they actually, I didn't even know he was artistic until that point, and he made a beautiful pattern. And then they took little individual pots of a dip, and normally my kids would never have eaten dip, but or veggie sticks into the dip, but they took them and they took their picnic blanket out, and they had a wonderful little snacky lunch of vegetable crudités and a lovely homemade dip that I didn't even know they would eat before that. And I found out about the artistic tendencies of my very clever son for plating up, which he can now do as an adult effortlessly. And she got him started. Thank you, Rachel. That's great. And so they can lay the table beautifully, or the picnic blanket, and they can, if they're helping to do little individual servings, that means that they're much more likely to be involved. If you're camping or out for a meal, then giving them their own choices really does help them to eat well. And that's really lovely. Just sneak in a few healthy things from time to time, and that helps them to learn to eat well. So making double of a recipe or a meal. This is a great tip for saving money, because if you have some extra meals or recipes in your fridge or freezer, I find we don't actually end up having so many takeaways. On the days you just don't feel like cooking, or you want to have a break, or you really want to have that I'm on holiday feeling, like me this week, then having something in the fridge or the freezer that's already made and easy to pull out, pop in the oven, or just have cold, it's wonderful to give yourself a break that way. And also, if you're going camping, my daughter says she loves to take a meal for the first day while they're setting up the tent, and also a meal for the second day, because as it defrosts, it's keeping the other food in her cooler cold, which is great, and it saves cooking on the second day. So that's really, really lovely as an idea for when you're on holiday and cooking. And again, that means that you're not going to be spending quite so much money on buying meals when you're away on holiday. It just gives you that extra little bit of savings. And a takeaway meal for 4 people can cost quite a lot, maybe 20 or 30 pounds that you'll be saving on making your own meal that you take with you. And I also love to have that meal in the freezer for when I come back from a holiday, because that means that I can come back, I make sure that it's in a casserole and not too thick, so that I can just pop it straight in the oven when I get home, while we're unpacking the car and sorting things out and getting the laundry done and all of those kinds of things that need to be done as you settle back into the house, then that means that your dinner's cooking and it's easy peasy. You didn't have to think about that part of it because you had that meal planned and in the freezer for when you got back. And if you know that you're not going to be able to get to the shops, maybe have 2 meals so that you've got something for the next day as well. And that, again, saves money on those takeaway meals that you might otherwise be very tempted or very in the habit of buying. And that really adds up fast on your savings. And my last bit of tips is actually how to build up your pantry supplies gradually. And think about the kinds of food that you like to eat. Here in the UK, it's summer, although looking outside today at the rain, you might not guess it. It's not very warm, but that's all right. It is the summer, and so we think about barbecues, and so I might, for my pantry staples, do some things that are barbecue staples. So when I make burgers, I might make double, so I've got some in the freezer ready to pull out for another easy meal. I might do my ultimate barbecue sauce, which is the recipe on Cookie Doo with my few tweaks from my Facebook Live recipe video that I did a few weeks ago. And that is delicious. We actually had some of that yesterday and the day before. It's so good. And so I'll be making that as a regular now. You can have mayonnaise and ketchup if you're into burgers and barbecues a lot. If you love Indian food, and you can see my Indian book behind me, then you probably will want to have some Indian staples on hand, maybe a chutney or two, or gradually grind your spices or build up your spice mixes. If you do 1 or 2 of those things every week, it really adds up to making life easier and having more and more homemade ingredients. And here we are, I've got the ultimate, turn it around to show you the ultimate barbecue sauce. You can see I just started that bottle the day before yesterday. So that's that one. And I've got a marinade. And this marinade is my favorite marinade, which is on my cookwithjanie.com recipe blog. That's delicious. From back in January, I still have a little bit of Seville orange marmalade left, and I put this into sterilized jars. So it's lasted really, really well, and it's delicious. So that's great for the toast, as is mulberry curd, which is a variation on a lemon curd, but I actually am using up my mulberries from the freezer to make room for this year's crop, which will be coming soon on the tree. And this is like a lemon curd in flavor, and it's pink and it's delicious. It's great for gifts for friends too. And of course, with those cut price veggies that you bought, you can make yourself some veggie stock paste. Unbelievable, wonderful addition for flavor to various meals, soups, stews, casseroles. You can even just put half a teaspoon or a teaspoon into a nice big mug and make yourself a mug of a veggie brothy, which is lovely. What else have I got to show you? Gluten-free baking powder. There's a recipe for that in my chocolate book, so feel free to make some of that for yourself. And one of my girlfriends, Susie, you'll recognize yourself in this, gave me these lovely little jars of herb salts, so you can make that too. These kinds of things really help you build up your pantry staples, and they're also a huge money saving. And they make lovely gifts. That's a money saving too. So today I've talked to you about making your own ingredients, shopping for reduced price items, getting the kids involved. Believe it or not, that does help save money. Making double of a recipe or a meal, popping it in the freezer or fridge to have another time. Building up your pantry supplies gradually. All of these things are ways that you can actually save money while you're cooking, whether you're at home in your own kitchen or self-catering, or you take some things with you when you're camping, or you just have some lovely little things, maybe even going traveling and you put some homemade granola in your suitcase to take with you for snacks on the airplane. So up to you what you do, but oh my gosh, there's so much you can do to save money while you're cooking. And if you save lots, then think about investing in a Thermomix, because really it is my favorite kitchen appliance, and I think you'd love to have one too. Thanks everyone for coming on. Thank you to all the people who will be watching this later on replay and on YouTube. Lovely to see you today, and I'll be back tomorrow with more tips and hints. Rightio. Bye everyone.